welcome to another episode of
Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy.
I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my bestie,
Cheri Hardman. We decided to do something.
Yeah?
Andy Vargo and I will do anything for attention.
Yes, we will.
I'll tell you what I did. My nails, my hair, and my nails, my hair.
You gotta give yourself credit for all the things you do.
I'll tell you what I did earlier, later.
Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Earlier, later. And we're here to discuss my nails, my hair, and
Being the best at no matter what it is that you're doing. Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Okay, so you want to hear some stuff?
I do. I want to hear. So just for the people who are just joining us or weren't on the private message Cheri and I just had going on, which is all y'all, we were sitting here going, I don't want to say anything. I can't say anything because we were saving the conversation for now. So please, Cheri, what is it?
Well, first I'll tell you the funny thing that just happened a little while ago. So
Okay.
I'm sitting here and I get a text, like a SMS text on my phone
That
from
is funny.
a guy that I don't want to say I used to date him. Let's just say we had a flirtation and one day we may have met at the hot dog place back before I was ever married. Okay, so it's
Sure.
kind of like that, right?
Mhm.
And he sends me this message. I can't even say his name because it's so unique that several people would know who it is.
Right. So Bob messaged you.
Yeah. And it says Cheri ? And I said, yeah. And so I'm like saying to him, oh yeah, one of my old conquests is like trying to get a hold of me, blah, 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 acting all cocky like that. And then he sends another message with a different last name.
Oh no.
So I was the wrong Cheri. So that was kind of hilarious that I was thinking that I was so cool. And I was the wrong one. Anyway, we
Oh.
chatted for a minute. It was nothing, but I just got a kick out of that I was thinking I was all such a sex pot. And yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean you're not. It is funny though where our mind goes sometimes, and then when we're not, we're just kind of like, oh, that was weird. That was awesome because you weren't hitting on me, and I expected you to.
So there's that. So that happened today.
At least it wasn't like you were single and he said, hey, let's catch up, and you show up on the date and he's like, oh, you're not the one I thought you were gonna be.
I know that could have been embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was just cleaning out all the numbers on my phone. But see, that's why I kept all the numbers in my phone, was so that when that was going to happen somewhere down the road, I would know who it was.
I do that too. I always leave the numbers in, and also if it's someone I don't want to talk to, I will add the word ignore next to.
Oh,
I have some that just say like ignore this dude or whatever.
uh-huh.
And it's not friends, it's people that I started talking to, romantically or to see about dating, and then they got weird, and I'm just like, okay, they're psycho or there's something odd. I just put them in there like not to re-engage.
I know I've told you this story before, but there was one guy that I dated named Andy something a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Went on one date with him, didn't like him. And then one day I was like calling you on the phone while I'm in the car, and I'm like, call Andy Vargo. And then it's like, calling Andy, whatever the guy's last name was. Right. I'm like, no.
Yes, I've had that kind of thing where all of a sudden you see dialing someone that you don't want to engage with, and it's like, how did that happen?
I know.
Abort, quick.
I know.
There's nothing like that feeling either. So Cheri, how's your week been? What you got coming up that you want to share?
I'll tell you what I got coming up. So let's see, where are we right now? Well,
18th.
The Tuesday have the last round of head-to-head in the comedy voice.
Yes.
So I have Juan Carlos against Mike Hansen. Mm-hmm. And Allison Fine against Nasil Israel. I forgot to look up how to say her last name. Nasil. So
that's going to be fun.
That's interesting. And then Thursday after that, I'm leaving for Tulsa.
Wow, that's awesome. And as soon as you get back from Tulsa, we got the show at Odd Otter.
I know, I can't believe, well, I was going to keep going, but I got an email from Tulsa from the Blue Whale Comedy Festival, and I'm only on one show, but it's a big show. It's a show with Rory Scovel, and I'm like, I've never been to a festival where I only had one show. But then I got an email after that, like there's a roast show asking if I wanted to do a roast battle, and I'm too fragile right now to do a roast battle. And comedians can be really brutal, and if they
Especially people
went
you don't
on my
know.
Facebook page and saw that my kid just killed himself and tried to be funny by making a joke about that, I just so
Yeah, that's
I'm not even going to leave myself open for that. And then we got the Odd Comedy at Odd Otter on the 29th, and then we'll be again on The Voice on the 30th. That'll be the first round of semifinals, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. That's just right here already. That's crazy.
And then I have some exciting stuff to tell about September too. So do you mind?
No,
because this is part of the news that I had to tell you.
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting. Like,
so I'm just going to go through the whole thing that I have right now. I'm sure I'm going to have way more bookings than this, but also starting back in school in September, I really don't want to go back to my job. I just want to do comedy. So I'm starting off the 2nd at Vinifera in Auburn.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to be headlining that on the 2nd, doing the Dope Show in Spokane on the 4th, going to see the Beach Boys on the 5th, the Comedy Voice on the 6th, Disabled List on the 17th, and then the 22nd, I will be going to Austin for the Austin Comedy Competition.
Really? That's exciting.
Just got that news today, and he said, if you're from out of town, come on the 22nd, because the first night of, like, that's the auditions or whatever, and the 23rd it starts or whatever. So I'm not exactly sure about the whole, they said there was going to be a thing following, telling us more about the schedule and stuff. But I've had people wanting me to come back to Austin and said they would book me. So I got to figure that out so I can get as much out of this trip as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why I need, because, between the funeral's been very expensive, and going to Tulsa
mm-hmm.
and our taxes, like I'm as poor as I've been in years right now. And so then I also told Tracy I would, go to her, that I was working on going to Vegas with her for her birthday in October.
Oh, yeah.
But now there's a trip to Austin. So
it's going to come together. It's going to get booked.
Oh, of course. I know I'm not worried about that. But I'm just saying, people hire me.
Now's a good time.
I'm a good person. I'm really funny. I always bring it. And I need the money right now. So I need the universe to align for me in a way. So there's that. So there's a lot of freaking exciting things coming up. So
that is exciting. Congratulations. Yeah. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. So what do you got going on? I know you have something exciting today too.
Well, yeah. So this is a little thing, but I've been going like crazy with the website work and getting that completely out there. And it is in the space now where I'm just loving it. There's just a couple little things, little refining things that are getting finished up, and they're on a couple pages that are a little bit buried. So I'm not worried if anybody goes and sees it. But I've been getting increasingly more and more leads through my website, and that's exciting.
Which is what you want.
Exactly. Like last week, I actually finalized a keynote gig for December for a youth leadership here in Washington for high schoolers. It's their leadership conference, and I'm excited about that. That's going to be fun. That was one where they found me through my website, sent me the request for info, and here we are. It's, deposits paid, time is booked, and I'm excited about it. And then today, I was just going through my day and I was booking somebody for my podcast, and I opened up my calendar to see when would be a good time to record. And all of a sudden it's like Monday morning, there's an appointment. And I'm like, oh, somebody went to my website, booked an appointment to talk about a speaking gig. And And it's just such a nice surprise when things are working the way you want them to and stuff is rolling in. And I don't want to say I can't believe it, or it's not like I knew it was going to happen, but it just feels so good. And to have that reminder that even a year ago it would be maybe a couple months between leads, or
Right.
take
Right.
a while. Now it's every week or two I've got another lead coming in, or two, and that's, I won't close every lead, but the flow will still be there, and the flow will grow, and I will close more and more of them. And the more are coming in, the more leads, if I'm always closing 10 or 20%, then 10 or 20% of 100 is a lot better than 10 or 20% of one every few months.
Right.
So that's exciting. It feels really good. I just got an invite to a conference to attend that is one that I've attended every year, that I've been able to, which is my favorite conference of all. It's not even really, it's more like a retreat. It's the No Longer Virtual conference, and that's going to be at the end of February this next year. So I just messaged them and said, count me in. I need to just double check a couple things because I've got a couple family weddings that could be happening right at that same time. And and people are still figuring out dates, but they're all saying, well, end of February, early March, and I'm going, okay, I don't want to be a jerk about it, but and these conferences are during the week. So I know I will go. I know I will be able to go. I just don't want to book a flight till I know if it's one of those things where I need to fly out early Monday morning or late Sunday after the festivities, or if I could go the weekend before. I don't even want to commit to being, in Chicago for a weekend if that could be a wedding weekend. So yeah, that's kind of where.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I'm excited because then I have a conference.
Exciting. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and the conference I'm going to in March, which is the Encounter 360. We don't even want to call that one a conference either, because that's going to be such a unique deal. Has people coming from India and England and Canada and the US, and I'm probably forgetting another country, but that one is sold out, and I'm giving one of the sessions there. So super excited.
Yeah. So amazing, Andy Vargo. Pretty soon you're going to be too famous to talk to me.
I will always talk to you. I can't wait, and we've talked about this when we're just, our gigs happen to line up in the same town, we're going out and partying afterwards, or I have a speaking gig in the afternoon and then come feature for you and you're headlining somewhere else at night or whatever,
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
There will be lots of fun to be had.
Yes.
Or there is lots of fun to be had.
Yeah. There is.
Okay, so we're going to play a game right now.
Awesome.
But we just got a comment, so I just want to make sure it's not over. Yeah. Oh, Tracy said, how exciting, Andy.
Hi, Tracy. Always a pleasure to see you.
Maybe Tracy wants to play our game. And I'm like, she would not want to be on camera. I know Tracy very well.
That's the thing. Sometimes with friends, you're like, you are welcome, but I know you well enough to know that you don't want to be here. Yeah. Do you want to talk about The Voice? That's been fun to watch for me.
Well, yeah, but I'm kind of crusty about it right now, a little bit. And so I don't know how to talk about it without, let's just say, I'm just going to say, maybe not even about The Voice, but just in general. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
I'll just say,
if you want feedback as a comedian, whether the audience laughs or not is a great gauge of how well you're doing. How's that?
There you go. I like that.
There's your feedback.
One thing that I have been getting back into, when I first started doing comedy, like this is exactly what when I didn't record my first set, which makes me so mad that I didn't record my first set. I think I recorded every set after that I started recording, but I didn't get that first one. I really wish I would have. But I started recording my sets, and back then at the open mic, you'd get 3 minutes, and I would go up, I'd record my set, and I would get in the car and I would listen to it on the way home, and I would count how many laughs per minute I got, because somebody had said, that was a good gauge, especially for an open mic. And one thing is that really steered me towards really short jokes and not And so
Right.
sometimes it's harder for me to get into some of those jokes when you have a longer set where it's okay if you tell a little bit of a
Right.
story. But I would count and I would listen. One thing that I would notice is there were times where I had a punchline and the audience didn't laugh. And I was like, why didn't they? You know, why wasn't there a laugh there? And sometimes I found that they might start to, but I was talking too fast for the next joke. Or maybe it just really wasn't that funny. It was funny to me, but not to everybody else. Or I didn't set it up well enough. Maybe the punchline was funny, but I didn't tell enough about it first. And sometimes there were laughs where I didn't expect there to be laughs. So I learned to pause and wait and let that laugh happen. But I did that every single open mic, every show, recorded it, listened to it, studied myself, and I noticed where I was using connector words, where I was talking too fast, and really practiced paying attention to that. Now, I would say that there was a point where I became a little too over rehearsed because I was getting so focused on memorizing exact word for word that I almost was disconnected from the audience because I was overly trying to memorize things, and then I couldn't veer off my script or my set. But then I kind of stopped doing that, and then I got way too lax. And so just lately, the last few months, I've gotten back to re-recording every set. And even when I was recording, I just kind of stopped listening. So now I can go back and say, oh, you know what? I didn't say that the way I meant to. No wonder why I didn't get a laugh. If I would have actually told the joke right, they would have laughed. Or if I wouldn't have talked so fast. And it's been really kind of refreshing to go back to the basics. And sometimes you see your own mistakes.
Yeah, I guess what's bugging me right now is that I really have given every comedian on my team the opportunity to work with me as much as they want. I've told them all, I'm open, I'm off work right now, I'm home. You can call me, you can Zoom me, you can Facebook me, you know, however you can, I'll meet you in person. I've met several people in person. And then when things don't go well for people, it's pretty easy to blame me. If you're not a person that takes responsibility for your own actions, you know, because if you don't listen to what the input that I give you as a coach, and then you try to blame me, it's kind of fucked up. So,
well, and you know, it's hard, and I can just speak for myself, but even when I get feedback or I hear it, it takes me a few times sometimes to say that set with the changes I want to make. I've gotten on stage with a full intent of changing something I'm going to say, and I get in the moment, all of a sudden I go back to my regular thing. So unless I've really practiced, it takes a lot of effort, especially if you have any amount of nerves at play.
Yeah. And you know,
but you have to be aware of that and acknowledge that, hey, this was me stumbling on going back to my
and
habit.
if you don't take advantage of your coach until the day before,
yeah, then it's not going to be,
doesn't give you a lot of time to work. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about it, except it's interesting. It's just a really interesting process. And I knew people were going to get upset with me to a certain degree.
I know
But
it's a lot harder than you thought it would be.
well, because I really feel like I really worked with some people, so I don't get it. But the ones that I didn't coach did great. So I'm not exactly sure how to take that news, but it's okay. So
well, maybe they went and watched some of your videos and
funny. It's kind of funny, you know. Sometimes with comedy, you've got it or you don't.
Well,
you know, that's why a lot of people don't believe in classes, because they believe you've got it. I understand that, but I think if you're a person that's been making the same mistakes over and over again and haven't learned from them just on your own by being able to gauge the audience's reaction and realize it, you know, then I don't know, maybe you're never going to do that. So I don't know.
I know the thing is too, like with whether or not you believe in classes, it's you have to bring both elements to the table. You have to have an element of talent and skill, and then an element of kind of the business of it or the refining of it, where you have someone who can find your weaknesses. If you could be a really fast runner, but you would still have a coach who can say, okay, you're getting up to this speed. If we work on these things, you're going to get to this speed. And that's the whole point of comedy classes. You know, comedy classes aren't going to teach you to be a funny person if you don't have an element of funny in you.
Right.
And if you're viewing it from that angle, then yeah, you're right, it's wrong. But if you're learning how to learn some techniques about writing, listening, the business side of it, then that's what it's there for.
Yep. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to, after this Tuesday night, I have to kick two people off my team.
Yeah.
And after that, I can just relax and just comment. And,
yeah.
you know, whatever people need from me, I will give them
Right.
with all the love in my heart. But I'm glad I don't have to be the one to judge, you know.
Yeah, that puts you in a tough spot.
I mean, and I, you know, like I said, I'm a codependent person who's really sensitive. And so doing this is super hard for me. And then people being upset with me is also super hard for me. So that's okay. Okay, I kind of want to talk about Noah's memorial because that's coming up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, it's kind of weird because that's just what I've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I made the memorial video and I've had to make the arrangements for the food and the invitations and not that there's invitations, but you know, like just all that kind of stuff. And then I thought, well, like I gotta think, like I've never done this before. I want to make sure like I have a guest book and then a nice pen for people to sign it with. And you know, I have a big picture of him and I got the urn, and some people wanted their own little bit of ashes to do with what they want. I know Noah's stepmom is making some kind of keepsake for Noah's dad and Noah's sister. And, you know, Avery wants some and Tracy wants some. So, you know, so we went today, or I got the little bags and Dave went and doled out because I had the funeral home keep some aside, but it wasn't enough for the people that wanted it. So he kind of had to dig through the ashes today and pull some out for some people. I really didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
It was making me nervous, and I just was finally, I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, he's like, excuse me, but it's just like, I kept waiting and waiting. And then finally it's like, just do it because it's on my mind, you know, and just you do it, it'll be off my mind. So that was done. So everything's ready, you know. We got Kleenex and water bottles and whatever. If we don't have it and it's not there, everybody's going to still be alive at the end of it. So, you know, it'll be okay.
It'll be beautiful no matter what. People will be there to show their support and love.
And I'm glad that Noah's dad's coming. And, you know, I've talked to you a little bit how it's really, stirred up some stuff for me, knowing that this man that I used to love, that I made a baby with on purpose, who is now gone, is going to come so we can say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
It's just like, like you were saying, that's like, oh, you know, it's not going to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad he's coming.
Well, it's one of those things. It's not a day that you ever want to face. That's just not going to feel good to go through. And then you add any other element into it where it's like, of course you want him to be there as Noah's dad, but one of those where it's,
I mean, we did not have a good ending to our relationship. And still, even when I connect with them, I talk to his wife instead of talking to him. But I am looking forward to hugging him. And he's not, I guess, doing too well. health-wise. So it will probably be the last one. Todd Royce is asking who the judges were or are. So it's me, Luke, and Josh Firestein are the coaches, not judges. So we're the coaches on the Comedy Voice. But anyway, so I think we have everything all ready for the memorial. And I realize that there's going to be like a weird lull after that, you know. So I'm kind of glad that I've got Tulsa to look forward to. So I can just go from preparing for that to preparing for that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at some point, you know, I got to deal with Noah's stuff, but I'll do that when I feel like dealing with it.
Yeah, that's fair. Like
his car's still over at Avery's, and I just gonna sign it over to them and let them keep it and do what they want with it. But that's a matter of paperwork and not fun stuff. So
well, there's some things like that are find the easiest or best way to deal with whichever piece you can at a time, and then put closure on one part at a time.
Right. Well, and you know, like everything has something hidden that is going to bother you that you're not prepared for. It just happens.
Yeah.
Like finding something with his signature on it or his handwriting, or you know, I picked up one of his shirts and I could just smell him, you know, and there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like feeling like I don't remember what his voice sounded like. That really bothers me. Like I don't have any recordings of his voice as an adult. I just have him as a little boy in videos, you know. So that's weird. It's just weird, the stuff that comes up that you're not expecting to be a problem, or just not expecting at all, because you know it's not something that happens every day. So
well, and you can't live your life going around trying to preserve every piece beforehand, like in case something ever happens, because that's, you know, almost projecting something to happen. And then but then, you know, when it does, you're like, oh, I kind of wish I had done some, you know. But
although I will say that, like, there is part of me, now I don't want this to sound like I'm suicidal at all, but like when I'm driving or something, I think, oh God, like if you almost get in an accident or somebody like cuts you off, it's like, oh, well, at least if I die, I'll get to see Noah.
Right.
Well, yeah. And I guess plus side to everything now, you know.
Yeah, there is some peace to the afterlife of, well, there is, you know, solace, and I'm taking some fear out of that, I guess.
Yeah, it really does. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I kind of wanted to make it back to Austin though before I go. So hopefully there will be no car accidents until October.
Hopefully hopefully not even near then. Way in the future.
I know. But yeah, so that's what's going on. We've got everything like all in a box ready to go, except the urn is sitting out. We'll just put it in right at the last minute. And a lot of people coming to help, and coming from other states to, well, my dad. No, Oregon relatives are coming up, so that's nice. Yeah. And then one of Noah's friends, he's the one that came over with flowers, you know, right after, and with the other friends. And he texts me all the time, like a couple times a week, to see if I need anything, do I want anything, and to reiterate that he'll do. And today he just said, you guys are family to me. Like, I look at you as a second mom, and I would do anything for you guys. And it's like, oh my God, that's why I would always say, Forrest, you're my favorite. You know? I love Forrest so much. So it was nice to hear from him today. So I gave him a job. I thought he needs a fucking job to do.
That's the thing, is people want to help because it's not out of pity, it's out of wanting to be a part of the process for them too, you know?
Right. And so I really hesitated giving people stuff to do, because Mostly because like I don't like to have anything to do when like if I'm going to someone's thing when they ask me to bring something, like fuck, I just don't.
Yeah.
So, but I have, there are some people that are going to help out with kitchen or setting up or whatever.
Well, just
So,
plan to get there early and do whatever you need done. So,
yeah.
so
So
it's that. Who knows what, chairs need to be put out or whatever. Just
I guess I should warn everybody that's coming to help that somebody in my family is like a stress monkey. So don't take any barking personally.
I won't take any barking personally.
You know how it is.
Can I tell you this funny thing happened on this recording I was doing yesterday?
Yeah.
The gentleman I was recording, and this is going to come out on Tuesday, so y'all can go watch Own Your Awkward and see this. But a little spoiler alert, he's sitting there talking and something came up about, he says, well, since I've been married to my wife, I've learned that I'm not the one that misses trains and whatever. And he's like, she is glaring at me so hard right now. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Because a lot of times when you're recording, I mean, people are at their dining room table or whatever, but you don't know who's around. Right. And it's just funny because I was like, oh my God, this is the most awesome thing.
That's funny. Makes you think of
anybody. Go
ahead.
Oh no, he's not anybody I've ever met because he's one of these famous people I just reached out to. So it makes it just even more awesome to see that side of a different dynamic of people. So anyway.
Todd just says a true comic. I need to get more stage time in before I die. Yeah, that is fun. What was I going to say? Oh,
is this how I go? I wanted another 10-minute set.
I was on my way to an open mic, damn it.
Right. Quick, turn the camera on. I gotta do this I gotta see if this joke kills or not.
I'm on Facebook. Just like when I was in Austin last time and those people came and I was like, if they're gonna kill me, we're doing this live.
It's gonna be live. Oh my God.
No, but it was kind of like last night. So last night I put this on Facebook, but let me tell you about it in person. So Dave and I hardly ever watch movies together because we don't like the same kind of movies. Mm-hmm. So whenever I talk him into watching a movie with me, it always ends up being a fucked up movie. And he always is end up like, God, you picked the weirdest movies, like, So last night, he wasn't even in the room. I'm watching this movie. It was about sex. And it was like about people's kinks or whatever. And so then they had this couple and they were doing like this role playing, like, you guys need to role play. And so then they were doing all this stuff. And I was like, oh, Dave, get in here. I'm thinking I can maybe benefit from this a little bit, And so he's watching it with me. And then I'm explaining, but then it's like, then this lady, okay, then one lady, her fetish was that when her husband cries, it really turns her on. And she found this out when his father died. And so he's crying and she's getting all horny and then they have sex. And so then she's like, what else can she do to make him cry? So so then she like kidnapped her own dog and had her sister keep it so that,
you said it took a dark turn, but oh my God.
Yeah, so it was stuff like that in the movie was happening. He's like, I've had enough of this, and he just leaves the room.
She needs it to be an authentic cry. Like she needs him to not feel good. Oh my God.
Yeah, so Dave just left the room, went to bed, and I was out there while I finished the movie, but yeah, it got, yeah. And I was glad that he was already in bed when I started the next movie where somebody hung themselves, and it was kind of like, it wasn't like, oh, you can tell what's, you kind of think, oh, this kid's not having a good time. He's getting bullied at school. And I kind of in the back of my head thought, but then the next scene is just, she opens the door and he's hanging there. And I'm like, I did not mean, I just closed my eyes and turned it off,
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to be more careful about what I watch. But I thought that sex show might be a little less violent and a little more sexy, but no. And then I won't even, then there was whole rape fantasy going wrong too.
God.
So
You got to stop watching such perverse shows. No
I
wonder why
know, but
David watch
I
shows
like
with
I
you.
like weird stuff like that.
Oh,
So anyway, so that was like a little experiment in TV watching gone awry. So I don't
that's
know.
the thing with TV. You know, I just, you know, you see these movies where someone's flipping through the channel trying to avoid whatever. Like, let's say you're thinking about pizza, then every time you switch,
Right,
it's like a movie scene with
right.
pizza, commercial for pizza, whatever. And whatever it is that you're not wanting to see just keeps popping up in front of you.
Mhm.
And TV is brutal that way. But
So I am coloring my hair tomorrow.
are you purple, orange? What color?
It's
Gray?
the same fucking color as always.
Okay.
So I've told you about that, haven't I? About how people say stuff about my hair.
I don't know. You probably have.
Okay. I have this pet peeve because people always say to me, "Oh, I like the color of your hair." Oh, like, is that a new color? It's like, it's been the same color for how many damn years, but red fades. So every day, really, it's a different color, but it's the same fucking color.
Right,
So if my hair is lighter, that means I have more roots showing, more gray, and it makes it look lighter, and the other color has faded. And this
yeah.
gets on my nerves because it happens all the time. Oh, I like the color of your hair. Is that new? I'm like, oh my God. Like, women, you should know how hair color works. So the other day, my mom says to me when we were out at dinner, "Oh, like your hair's a different color." I'm like, oh my God. Like, just because it's a pet peeve of mine,
Then yeah, then it grates on
I was
you.
like, oh, it's the same color as always. And then I hear Dave apologizing for me, which is hilarious because I'm the one always apologizing for Dave. And he's like, well, she's a little cranky right now, you know. So I think we're at the anger stage of grief. So yeah. So tomorrow my hair will be a different color. So everybody be sure to comment on it.
I will.
I know you will. It's
Oh,
like I just
wow.
gave Andy a peek into my Achilles heel, and now he's gonna kick it every time he
Thank you for
sees
that gift that's going to keep on giving.
that inside intel, right?
Yeah, I do remember you saying something about that before, but I don't know if I knew the intent or the extent of how much it gets to you.
Well, because here's the deal: it's always irritating people that say it. People that are already irritating.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention any names of people in my life, but you know the ones that I talk about.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you're this way. I love people from every walk of life, and you know, appreciate them for all these different reasons. But as soon as somebody starts to annoy me, like I'm done. Like every single thing that they do from that point forward just is annoying, and it doesn't matter. It could be the same thing that other people do. So I have to put myself in check sometimes and be like,
I know, but see, here's what happens with that. Here's the problem: is that sometimes you're married to that person.
Well, you said yes.
I know. It's like, well, God, where were we the other day? And by the way, I know I use toilet paper here, but at the service, there will be actual Kleenex. Would that be funny? Just a roll of toilet paper on each aisle.
Usually the big jumbo rolls, just like on a plunger, just.
Oh yeah, sometimes I do have to do that. Like everything that he says gets on my nerves. And so sometimes I just have to go, you know what? You're probably really fucking irritating to him too. And he's nice to you all the time, mostly. So
Lighten up.
yeah.
I have a friend she's a coach in different areas, and one of the things that I've really admired is her ability to talk about like the reality of life and even her marriage and say, you know, this thing happened and I was just pissed at my husband. And the first time I heard her say it, I didn't know her well enough to like expect that. So it really threw me off. And she's like, but then, you know, like I know that I have to accept his way that he has to process this thing, because that's also what I love about him in all these other areas. Like,
right, for
like
sure.
she used the example of like just deciding where they're going to go out to eat. He has to like research the menu, the this, the that. And she's like, so I know that I need to either give him time to do that and let him go down his rabbit hole and come back, or say, I want to go here tonight. Or, you know, like don't put yourself in that situation when you know the type of personality, but also know that all of those things come with and are what give that person the personality for all the other things that you love about them.
I know it's like Dave is really frugal, okay, which you know it means cheap, and but look, oh, my ring was stuck on my shirt again. But that's the thing that helped me get my credit cleared up and get all my old bills from when I was single paid off.
Right.
It's just his focus on that kind of thing. So, you know, like I just realized that one time we went to Vegas and I gave him all my spending money. And so I had to ask him for money every time I wanted to gamble, and that got old real quick. So we changed some things there because I realized I can't do that, you know, but
right.
I didn't spend nearly as much money that time as I usually do. There were just a lot more sneak trips to the ATM behind his back that yeah.
That's fair.
Well, shoot.
Well, this has been fun to catch up.
Yeah, and once again, you know, maybe one of these days we'll get to play our little game. I guess probably having our podcast at 4:00 makes it harder for people to join us.
We can always do a special evening time, or maybe we'll do a Friday night game show sometime.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. We did that one.
Yeah, we've done stuff like that.
We've done a couple of those, and those were always really fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
So.
Yeah, I'm excited though for Unmentionables. I booked Odd Otters September show. We have Bo Blast headlining.
Hey.
And we're gonna play Unmentionables.
That's always blast.
But I got a new game, and it's like twerk pong. So you have to tie a box around your waist, and it has balls in it, like ping pong balls, and you have to twerk the balls out of the box. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
That will be fun.
So, all right, are we done? Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. And I think I only cried once this episode, so we're getting better.
Love you, Cheri.
Love you too. All right, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, let me just say that I uploaded all our old episodes. We're caught up now. So go check us out on YouTube or podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and get caught up on the last 2 episodes.
I have to say, I appreciate how much you do all of that, because Cheri does all the heavy lifting for this show. It is amazing and awesome. She's amazing like that.
Oh, all right. Bye.